welcome to Moto Talk. It's May 9th, 2022, and thanks for tuning in. We got the Professor Gary Bailey logged in today. We got Shae Bentley. So Moto Talk is a place for kind of the youth riders to kind of have a voice. My little buddy Kaverick Stewart on the call today. It was his idea, so I said, hey, I got a plan. Let's get some guys together and let's talk. So we got some really cool upcoming guests. I'm excited for all this to happen, and I'm thankful Kaverick was able to put this together, and it was his idea. So some of the local races were canceled over the weekend. So some of our riders, they didn't race. I got to shout out Corey Steed winning the Women's Pro GNCC this weekend. And it was the last round of the Supercross. So that was some pretty crazy racing. And
that was great racing.
Justin Brayton, it was his last race of his career. So a lot of stuff happening this week. And I'd like to welcome multi-time Loretta Lynn's champion, international racer, a hero of mine growing up. I got to ride with Shea a little bit back in the day, and 2000 West Coast Supercross champ Shae Bentley. And a couple of things, Shea hole shotted his first Supercross in '98 at the Indy Supercross. He got picked up by Team Pro Circuit with Mitch Payton, and he went to finish 5th overall, his first ever Supercross season. And then in 2000 with the championship on the West Coast. So you guys are talking to a champion, getting to hear from him, pick his brain, ask him some questions. Shea's riding style, always good form, elbows up, really looked effortless on the bike. He stood up a lot, and he had that Travis Pastrana, Davey Millsaps, Gary Bailey riding technique, except for his levers. He always got caught a bunch of stuff because he had the crazy levers way up. So we'll let him tell you about why he did that. And man, he accomplished some stuff as an amateur and as a pro that we all dream of. So welcome Georgia native Shae Bentley to the show today. Hey Shae, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, that was great. I should look like Gary Bailey did train me. So I spent every year I spent some time with Gary. So it was always effortless. When I looked the slowest, that's when I was going the fastest.
When you're just in control, you feel like you're flowing. I mean, you always looked like you were just flowing out there. And when you watch on TV, you see these guys that looks effortless, but they're just so tuned in, so dialed in on the bike that, you just get in the zone and you're flying out there. So Shae, tell me about Loretta Lynn's. You went there a bunch of times. You got 3 Loretta Lynn's championships, one of which in 85cc 9-13, you had Nick Way, Travis Pastrana, Brandon Jessamine, and you won. That was one of the toughest classes at Loretta's. It still is, those 85 classes. So, and Ricky Carmichael was in there even as well. So beating some of those guys. Talk to me a little about what was it like as a kid when you were you're just getting to Loretta's for the first few times? What was that like as a kid for you?
Stressful. No, because Loretta's it really is. It's the most stressful race you'll ever do, because that one race depends your whole year. And so it was every summer, me, Matt Walker, Scotty Pinson, Aaron Lindsay, we'd all go and spend a week at each other's house before Loretta's, practicing together. And because it was different back then. We didn't get, in the summer, that's when we rode every day. School days, we only rode a little bit. It was stressful because that, my dad put me as far as the dieting, everything like that. But it was, you show up and you learn how to handle pressure. You better be mature enough to, to handle it, because that one race depended on your whole year. And if you had a bad race, that's on you. So it's one of those deals where you had to make it happen. And for me, it was tough because I had the fastest guys our class was probably the most stacked you'll ever see to this day, because every one of us made it. And when I say made it, that's just not having factory rides. That's winning races. That's winning championships. Me and Ricky, yeah, we had Kevin Windham. You know, it was always that people like that was above us in age, but so it always kept you chasing. You know, you should always be chasing anyway. You should never settle. But yeah, it was terrible for me because I had to race Ricky. So it was it was a lot of work because I had to study. Why was he beating me? Why was he doing the things he was doing? Because he was riding with faster guys. He was already riding with, you know, a lot of the pros and stuff like that. I was riding by myself. And so it was a lot of watching videos. I watched videos left and right. And then Gary, he would we did a lot of technique, you know, learn the technique now, the speed will come later. So it was and it didn't matter if it poured down. There was one time it poured down raining. And Gary was like, I thought we were gonna have the day off. Nah. I learned to ride mud that day. And it was probably the best day I've ever had.
That's when you learn, man. You gotta ride in the tough conditions.
Yeah, you don't have no choice. Hey, thank you for everything. Because it made me who I was. He can wheelie better, climb cliffs better than any young person I know, still to this day, probably. Make us all look bad. I have some of his books, and I still read them because you know, I still teach. I actually am just finishing teaching right now. The things that he teaches, and that he goes so in detail with the little stuff, because that little stuff is what matters.
People don't.
And daggum, if you don't have your finger on the clutch, that's on. Whap, you getting hit. So, and that's one thing I can say is the finger on the clutch is a huge deal, because it gives me leverage, and I'm there. It's my old crap handle is what I call it.
Hey, so for me, it's like those things are what's most important. I mean, like balance and control, and you never know what kind of a situation you're going to get in, and you got to be ready for it. I mean, the guys today that don't even pay attention to the best riders out there, and you know, Carmichael, excuse me, talks a lot about the clutch when he's talking about things, and I don't understand why more people don't understand. Tomac goes out there and dominates. They talk about his bike is smoking and it's overheating and it's this and that. It's like because he's using the clutch so much, and it's like, you know, there's a point when they're certainly abusing the clutch, but if you have your finger on it, man, you can do so many things and respond so quick. And yep. I believe that there's James Stewart. I think if he'd had his finger on the clutch, even if he wasn't using it a lot, if he'd had his finger on the clutch, he wouldn't have had a lot of cracks. I watched it over and over. So yeah, so I think the clutch is just like an important tool that you need to learn to be ready to whenever. I was looking at the injury list from the last two Supercross, and I was looking at the guy who will never see their finger on the clutch. And I could throw some names out there of, maybe the Martin boys. And they have had a lot of injuries. And I remember when they were, I did a class with them at their place, and they weren't a big fan of using the clutch. Oh, I don't need the clutch, da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, I'm looking at Alex out there riding, and I'm going, how come the guy has a lot of problems? He misses a lot of races, and he doesn't always have his finger on the clutch. It ain't about always using it. It's about being ready whenever people need to figure out. Even if you're not a clutch user, put your finger on the dang thing and leave it on there in case you need to.
That's right, Gary. And you know, I know Shea, he's out there teaching the guys, keep your finger on the clutch. Yep. I'm out there every day with the 65s. They're some of the hardest. Get their finger on the clutch. You know, it's super important. It's super important, and it's a safety. You know, it's there if you need it. Someone crashes on a landing of a jump. If your finger's not there to get that front wheel up, you're not going to be reaching for it when you're already in that oh crap moment.
Yep. Yeah, and then you hit the rear brake and you stall it, you know, it's like it's the old crap handle, and you're not pulling the clutch in, you're just popping it just a little bit, you know, it's there, it's keeping it in the power, and like you said, you're ready for it. But I see a lot of riders, but you know what's funny is every rider that Gary worked with that and has won championships, look at them, they always had the finger on the clutch. We all have the same style. Cooper Webb, I mean, look at his style.
Yeah. So the clutch, use it. you know, you just got to learn the right amount. And the other thing that I'm a big fan of, and I think's really important. I mean, I spent a lot of time with Cooper Webb, and my main thing was every time that you accelerate, you want to make sure that you have traction. And you can be wide open. People can say they're wide open all the time. Your wheel's not hooking up. Wide open doesn't mean a flipping thing. That's just like going to the drag strip and dang light turns green and you spin and the other guy hooks up, he's gone. So the focus, once you think you're all going that fast and everything so well, and you want to pick up another quarter to a half a second a lap, think about every time you accelerate, is that front end trying to get off of the ground a little bit and just hover over the top? Because that's the main way you can tell when you're wide open, if you're getting the best traction and going as fast forward as you can possibly go.
Yeah. And there's riders that sound like they're going fast, and then you have riders that go real fast. So, and that's, and it's traction, it's hookup. It's, you know, it's their momentum. It's, like, as they say, it's not the one that goes the fastest, one that slows down the least. It, I always say, if you're going from 0 to 100, you know, you got to build all that stuff up. But if you drop down, it's not letting off, you let up. So that's what I tell all my young kids. Go in and your initial setup, you let off for a second, but you listen to like some of the kids these days. What's the kid on the number 300? Drew Adams. They're on it, but they're not wide open sometimes. A lot of times they're just like, you know, a little bit. And that way, when they do get on it, the traction is there. Because they're not going from 0 to everything.
Was that a 2-stroke or a 4-strokes down?
That was it's a mixed redneck 2-stroke. It's the new 2-stroke. You got me there, man.
I gotta ask you the number one question on Moto Talk. The number one question here on Moto Talk is, when you were a kid and you were riding dirt bikes, what did you love so much about the sport? Like, what made you want to go ride your dirt bike every day? Was it getting that big trophy? Tell me about what made you want to go ride when you were a kid?
I think it was the chase. It was always wanting to better myself. It was always, you know, my brother, my dad, and all them did it, but it was always, it was that everything I did, even if I was, you know, thought I was perfect that day, I could always be better. And it was always a challenge. I always had that challenge. It kept me on my toes. I made DHD to the extreme. So something's got to keep me in line. And I think it was just a chase. It was that challenge that I could always do it better. That, and I was naturally gifted. And in certain areas, I really was. It came kind of easy to me. I listened to the good, and I threw out, you know, the bull crap. And when you have people in your corner that are good people, like Gary, my dad, and it was made things pretty, you know, made things really never boring and never, you know, dull moment.
Tell me, listen to people when they told you to put your levers down.
Give you a list of how many told me to put my levers down. Well, I could put my levers down because they're 2 years my shoulder. They had it locked in place. My chest protector. Was it both shoulders? You had both? No, but no, man. No, I mean, at Loretta's, and in order for me to race, they had to, because my shoulder was coming out so much, and so I went to a place where they made fake arms and legs and everything, and they took my chest protector and all the degrees. They worked with my doctor, so they had it'd keep my shoulder in, but it wasn't no movement whatsoever. It was just elbow down. That's how it was. It was elbow down and against my side, and I still won Loretta's that year. It was 95. But yeah, levers came up, man. I got you. Levers came up, but you know what, Gary? It got to a point where I used it as leverage. I was able to get more forward a little bit. It was almost like I was using it as leverage in order to push out, you know, kind of get more forward. It sounds stupid because your wrist is in a really screwed up position. Yeah, when you have a situation like, I think, particularly if you're going to racing, I think you kind of adapt to and you just make work what you got. Exactly. You know, in life we have to adapt, and in racing it's the same thing. And that's what with anything I teach, everything I teach my riders, it's a lot of it's about riding, but it's about life. It's about having the goals, the dreams, you know, adapting, making changes. So it's because how many's gonna make it in racing, and especially how many's gonna make it enough money. So I want my riders to be ready for life. Every one of them. I want them to be ready. That if you want it bad enough, you have to study it. If you love it, it's you want to do it every day. You gotta love. Sometimes you gotta love the things you hate to do the most. A lot of my riders hate running. Well, guess what we do? We go run.
Yeah.
What other classes did you win Loretta's, Shae? I know it was 85, 913 mod.
250 Pro Sport and Super Mini in 95. And I had a whole lot of second
How old
place.
are you now?
Huh?
How old are you?
Well, I'm 43, but hey, how'd you know that? I'm 43, but I look like I'm 21.
Yeah, I actually do.
I would take my 50 plus championship away from me.
Oh, hey, nobody's gonna get that 50 plus championship under Mike Brown. Nobody's touching him. The guy, he's still hauled.
He's unbelievable how fast he is.
It really is. So, you know what? When I met Gary, it was when we went to South Africa. It was in 1992? Was that year or 91?
Oh.
We done for these?
Yeah, that was good trip.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I had that was unbelievable. Yeah, it was I was very blessed, and that was not only about racing, but that was just a culture. I mean, it was unbelievable because we went racing, but we also spent a week on a safari hunt. And that's probably the best time still to this day of my life.
That was definitely it's something everybody should experience, no doubt. You know the best whole trip, I don't know if you remember it, but you remember they had that fencing around it, the wire fencing around there.
Yep.
And it was to keep the animals from coming in.
Yep.
So I said, and they always close the gate at night. And I wanted to go out and take some pictures, and I wanted to go through the barber. I go, is the fence on? And they go, well, what do you think? And I go, well, I don't know. And they said, do you hear the generator running? And I go, no. Well, guess what? If the generator ain't running, there's no electricity. So guess what? So I guess that means that when it's not running, come in too. And they go, that's right. That's why we run the generator at nighttime. But that fence was only working when that generator was running.
Oh, I didn't know that. I remember just sitting out there and laying in the grass, and you see the eyes of all kind of animals. I have video still. I don't know if you remember, but I had the video camera, and of like we got chased by an elephant. I have a bunch of that footage.
Did you go on the walk out in the bush when we went looking for the elephants, and we come up on that whole herd of them?
Yeah, and that one elephant was pissed off. The only thing that stopped him was the second tree he hit.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Took the tree down trying to told that driver.
He was on a mission.
Going.
Yeah. Y'all came around that corner. Y'all were hauling. Go. Yeah, I had that on camera. Oh, good times.
Well, you got it all. What do you got it on some stupid camera? You probably can't even see it anymore.
No, it's a VHS tape.
Did you transfer it?
No.
Did you transfer it on digital?
No, I haven't done anything like that. I still have the tape recorders.
You still got a flip phone, don't you?
Well, I just got rid of it. This is the Android. So, man, yeah, I still have the flip phone. I still have the pager.
One day you'll grow up and have an Apple phone.
Oh.
You proved yourself, Shae, as an amateur. Talk to me about, you quickly got to the pro ranks. In 98, you got 5th overall for the East Coast Supercross Series. What was it like going from amateur to pro? You're winning all these amateur races. What was it like when you got to that pro level Supercross? What was the difference in your mindset? What did it feel like? I know you were stressed for Loretta Lynn's, What was it like turning pro?
Well, like back then, as an amateur, we didn't get to ride with the pros that much. So it was a big step, because now I'm going against people I've watched on TV, and but what helped me though is Ricky was already in the pro ranks. So I was able to say, okay, he's there. I know I can run with him on my, on my good days. I can do that. I think the biggest thing was the mindset. I knew my work ethic. I knew all that stuff. It was the mindset of going to the main event and knowing I can win and thinking I can win. So in '98, I did a whole lot of thinking. I got out front, I did that, but I wasn't. I only had 2 weeks on the bike before the first main event. I mean, before in Indianapolis, because I ruptured my spleen at the mini O's. It was, my preparation wasn't there, but I believed in myself, and still to this day, I'm a very confident person. I can tell you, if I don't know anything about it, I'm gonna act like I know something about it. So I believe in myself that much, and I think that's always helped me. So I don't really question anything far as like what I do. I worry about me, and obviously my family and stuff. But back then it was all about me. It was, you have to be selfish, and I was. It was, what is it gonna take for me to do it? Because I knew I was gonna make it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts, and I didn't want to just be in a semi. Me making it was winning championships, and I should have won multi-championships. I'll take one, but I should have won many. The biggest difference is in the pros is you got one or two guys in the amateurs that can go your speed. So you can make mistakes. In the pros, you got 20 guys that can go there and they can do it. But in the motos, the race, they only get faster and they can step it up any given time. So they go to these local tracks and they're like, oh, I was running same lap time as what so and so was running. Let's say like Cooper Webb, I was running his same lap times. In the race, Cooper's gonna step it up about 3-4 seconds, and he's gonna do it, and no mistakes, and he makes things happen. So that's why you see a lot of the amateurs, their first year pro, they have no pressure on them. They go out and they have a few good finishes. Well, the next year, guess what? We hired you. You're it's no longer just finishing top 5. You're supposed to win races. When that pressure gets added to it, the results just aren't there. And it's not about speed or ability. A lot of it's just with how they approach their racing. You have to go into the mains ready. You have to know that in the bottom of your heart, you did everything you could possibly do, and you're ready, and you believe in yourself that you can win, no doubt, and that you're going to win.
So no matter what, you're showing up to the line, whether you're in the B class on a 50, an 80, and you're showing up to the line thinking, I'm here, I put the work in, and I'm here to win. Yeah.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts. No matter, and no matter what I did, it was I did put the work in. I lived it, ate it, you name it. I wanted it so bad. That's what hurt me.
When you say these riders, these up and coming riders, they need to be studying the sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think they should be studying?
Well, a lot of the riders will be sitting there, and let's say you got a few Tomac and them around the track. They're sitting there looking at their phones and stuff, worried about everything else going on around them. They get caught up in the all the drama, the stuff on the sides. Why not make lists? Why not? I used to sit in school and make lists. Finger on the clutch, balls in my feet, squeeze. Ankles, knees, far over the front, momentum. I used to sit there. Edges of the track. Be creative. Guys that are winning for a reason, because they're doing everything right. And it's not just what they're doing on the track. They're living life right. What they do off the track is just as important. You got your conscience and stuff, doing, making right decisions, surrounding themselves with the right people, because it's not just them. I mean, it takes a team to make sure you're ready, and especially nowadays.
Yeah, when he's talking about studying the sport, a lot of classes and do some one-on-one privates with individuals once in a while. But, even now and back then, I could ask a rider that I'm working with, oh, who do you like? I like Tomac. What do you like about him? Oh, he's fast. Well, can you tell me something about what he does? I just like the way he corners. I go, tell me what his body position is. Tell me if he uses the clutch. Can you tell me? And I can ask them all these questions, and they do not have any idea if he uses his clutch. I want to know what finger he has on the clutch. I want to know if he rides on the balls of his feet. I want to know what he does with his head in the corners. I want to know what he does with his leg in the turns. Does he stick it straight out? Does he have a dangling effect to it? Is it out away from the bike? Is it? And they cannot answer those questions. They have no idea. And it's like, if you want to be Eli Tomac, you have to become Eli Tomac. I'm just using him as an example. You have to replicate everything that he does, and if you don't look like him, even if you're not as fast as him, if you don't look like him, they look at magazines, they don't even know what they're looking at. They watch races, They don't even know what they're looking at. There's a lesson being taught in every single race that you watch. There's lessons being taught by the top guys, and these riders do not even see it. They don't understand it. They don't understand why they're back at a certain angle in the air at a certain point. They don't even know how to get it to go there. There's so many riders that can't tell me. I said, hey, if your front end's high, what do you do? Oh, we tap the rear brake.
Yeah.
And I go, really? Well, that's a fix. But did you know? No, that's the only way to do it. Oh, you got to get your head over the front end. Oh, okay. So if I pull my head over the front end, I pull the front end up. So no, that doesn't work either. They cannot explain it to you because they've never paid attention to details to how things actually work. They don't see it.
Yep.
So Shae, you're coaching now, but you obviously figured out how to make things work. That year after 99, after an injury, you came back for the 2000 West Coast Supercross. You won the championship.
It is, my family. Everything that they put into it, I was able to give back. Do what they knew I could do. A lot of stuff that we don't understand as a kid and as a young adult, with our parents and stuff. And like with my dad, he was hard on me. He really was. But you know why he was hard on me? Because he believed in me. A lot of parenting, they want to be the friends. My job isn't to be my kids' friends. My job is to make sure my kids are ready for life. My job is to make sure my kid he puts everything into it and he gets out of it. And so my dad saw me, he knew how much work I put into it. And it was like when I won the championship, you know what my dad said to me? He said, son, you got the easy part done. Now let's see what type of man you are. Back it up. And you know what? He's right. Winning the first one, hey, but backing it up, it's hard. Because things go wrong. And, it was out of my hands. I should have won the second year, but it went out of my hands. But the feeling of when I pulled off the track, and I thought I had lost, is heart-wrenching. Because I thought it's something just slipped through my fingers that was kind of out of my hands. And I was told I lost. I heard it. Davey Coombs, and then I heard it come through the radio. Shae Bentley's your champion. Huh. Man, that was the biggest relief. It was like, it was words don't describe. That's where I said I freaking won. And thank goodness I didn't cuss or anything like that, I took a butt whooping from my mom anyways. So it was like, it was a relief, but it was something that I knew I was going to do anyways. So it was almost, I expected myself to do it.
Yeah, and you showed up on the starting line. You felt like you deserved it. You were there. You deserved it. And you were going to make it happen and give it your all because that's what you're used to doing. So, hopefully that's inspiring to everybody that watches the show.
Like I always, even though I'd put in the work, I still kept everything fun. I still had my, I was still able to be a kid. I still, went to prom. There was stuff that I did that gave me that. We all had to have an outing. The parents want it more than the kids these days. And, it's like I tell them, do you want to win all the, the amateur championships? Or do you want your kid to win, Supercross championships? Because kids are peaking way too early. They've been hurt so much. And, I love these facilities. I love all this stuff. But in order to be successful, number one, you have to have routine. All right. So it's like and when I get up in the morning, first thing I do, I make my bed because that's the start of my day. That right there, boom. We all have to have that routine. Number two, your surroundings. You have to surround yourself with winners. You surround yourself with, you surround yourself with, crap, you're gonna get crap. So it's about wisdom. And I think, Mitch, I saw how much Mitch believed in me. That right there was something that gave me the little up, because I'd been knocked down, man, knocked down. You can only be knocked down and brought back so many times. It was like, but there was something inside me that was always that kept me going. Like I knew I still had it, and I didn't peak. I was always getting faster. I was always hungrier, and it wasn't even though I'd been knocked down and stuff, I was still wanting to learn. If you think you have things figured out, well, you're already backing up. You should always be like chasing yourself, because in 5 years from now, I want to be way better than what I am right now. And like I said, it's not what you do on the bike is everything, but what you do off the bike is just as important, because you have to have the surroundings of living life right, having the right, eating right, having the right people around you, still being able to live life, and doing other things, not just, get up and get your work done. Work now, play later. That was my motto. Work now, play later. And get up and I get everything done. I still had half the day. So I was able to still be that family man, still be able to do, the fun things that, a lot of kids these days don't get to do.
They had a successful amateur career. You had an amazing, there's not many Supercross champions with those number one plates. And now, you're coaching, you're doing what you loved as a kid, sharing what Gary taught you, handing down the information and your experiences to the kids. Myself at the Speed Farm, I'm coaching as well. I feel like that's what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
What do you like so much about coaching the up and coming kids and even the beginners that come over to you and to the fast guys? What do you get out of coaching?
Seeing them, the progress, but seeing them progress as as an individual, maturing, growing up. A lot of times, the fast guys, they listen, but they don't listen, because most of them think they have things figured out. I'm already winning, why do I need to do something different? Well, I'm gonna tell you why you need to do something different, because you ain't gonna be winning in another year. But it's making, man, I love doing what I do because of the families and these kids that I work with. They teach me a lot of times. They really do. It's like, Gage, kid I'm working with here. It's amazing how smart these kids are. So it's like being a chess player. I have to be steps ahead of him already, because you're always you're always on your toes. Every time they go out and stuff, it's switching things up, keeping it fun. All right, with him, what we do? He has to chase Mario and Princess, and they drop mushrooms, so we play Mario Kart when he's out there. Basically, I have to keep it fun. Then then I got other riders. It's like, so I'm always trying to keep things fun. I'm always trying to be ahead of stuff. I don't want to be that normal guy that goes out and does the training. I want to keep things fun and make things happen. I want my riders to succeed, not just on the bike, off the bike. Be everything. Want to be the best that you can be, and know that if dreams do come true. If you want it bad enough, you can make it happen. And don't be the person that sits there and puts everything else on somebody else. Like, well, I can't make it because so and so won't do this. No, you could make it, but you choose not to. You choose to make excuses, and excuses are only good for those that make them and want to hear them. And I'm not one of them.
Yeah, I said it's the excuses are only satisfying to those who make them.
Yeah.
Tell you about David. David was always like, well, what do I need to do? And how come it's never good enough? Even when I washed my bike and I said, hey, how's my bike look? On its side and wash underneath it? No. Well, and everything was always like, is it never good enough? And I said, yeah, Dave, it is. I'll tell you when it's good enough. Okay. And then you'll understand it. When you pull every hole shot, lead every lap, and win every moto and every championship, then that's good enough. Until then, there's things that you need to work on. And I get guys all the time that think, oh, I don't need any help, all that stuff. I had a guy for a video class one time. This was classic. I was having a class and this guy showed up with a buddy of his. And I said, hey, are you taking the class? He goes, no, I'm not taking the class. And I go, oh, how come? He goes, I already know all that stuff. And I go, really? You know all that stuff? I go, yeah, you probably do. You probably know all that stuff because that's all you know. And that's all you know. And that's all the stuff you know. So, yep, you're right. You know all that stuff, but you don't know all the stuff. And I turned around and walked off. And I'm like, well, it's a fact. When you quit learning in any, I'll tell you what, you don't at all.
You're out there still reading Gary Bailey's book.
Yeah.
I got one that'll test you and challenge you. Are you ready? Okay, here's the challenge for you. And this is what I do. I video races, and I always video every single rider I ever had, pro rider I ever worked with. I videoed every single race. I videoed every one of David's races that I could get to. The challenge is to figure out why that particular rider won on that particular day. I want to know why Tomac dominated this day and didn't dominate another day. I want to know why Cooper Webb come up and beat Tomac or whoever on that. I want to know why Roxon do so much better on that day. That was better than get it deeper than just watch the race go by. Sometimes you got to go back and look at. I have the opportunity when I'm videoing to video every guy through every single corner, so I can go back and put it in my computer, and I actually do side by side, where I get a whole lap of Cooper Webb, I get a Tomac, I get a whole lap of Dungy, I got a whole lap of Villapoto, and I can literally on that same day on that same racetrack, is I can put them in my computer and I side by side. These guys got fish system and a couple other systems they use that tell you, well, he was faster here, he was faster there. And it doesn't tell you what that guy's mannerism was. It doesn't tell you where he was. It doesn't tell you if he was forward on the bike or on the bike, if he dropped his arms, they picked up his head, if he straightened his leg, if he was on the balls of his feet. That information in side by side, and you can literally see, okay, this guy gained a quarter of a bike length right here, a half a bike length there, a full bike length there. And I go, that's the things you got to try and figure out. When Cooper was racing with Anderson, and Anderson was winning in the 250 class, I was looking for a long time, going, where are we losing? Where are we losing? Well, Cooper would try and land nose down every jump perfect, where Anderson would jump out further and gain a whole bike length on him just through the landing.
Yeah.
With the power on. And I'm like, think about how many jumps Supercross track per lap. And you go, man, if he's jumping out one bike length further, every one of them, and just touching the down ramp with the back wheel, not landing on the flat, he's obviously he's on the gas harder and he can be more aggressive. So he just pulls away just that little tiny half a bike length every single jump, every time he lands, and faster than that guy. Well, that guy was faster than my rider. Something to look at, you can see it live, but it's not the same as actually having proof. And most of the time with Cooper, the 9 years I worked with Cooper, a lot of times I had to prove it to him. I could tell him, he's, yeah, but, and I'm going, okay, you can go with the yeah, but once I laid that footage down and showed him the side-by-side footage and see where he could see where he lost in that place, lost here, lost here, lost there, all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, now I see what you're talking about. That stuff's important, and why people don't use video anymore, I do not understand. Don't understand. It started back when they used video and film, and they proved in other sports that this video is valuable. But motocross, the pros they kind of do, but up before they get to the pros, they don't seem to understand what you can see and what you can learn. And for David, the most valuable thing for him in the we raced with Brock a lot in a 500 class. He could actually see what Brock was doing. He goes, he knew what Brock was doing. He knew what Brock was thinking. He knew without ever looking back. He looked at the videotape and goes, ah, I see how he set me up. Oh, I see how he got by me. And that stuff is, but you got to take time to do it. And the problem is it takes time. And riders today just, they don't want to take, oh, I want to do this, or I'm going to go ride my bike, or I want to, it's like, dude, this stuff is important. This stuff is
everything.
It's knowledge. And if you don't have that knowledge, what do you got?
Yeah, just out twiddling your thumbs. That's how I learned so much was my mom videoing. I mean, and I still do it today. I mean, hey, you had the iPhone. See, I just had the flip phone. So when I'm videoing, it's a little bit slower. It's not as clear through my phone.
Important. It's really important.
But it is. Yeah. I mean, it really is. And let me ask you a question. Why do you think the European riders are better than us outdoors?
I can answer that question. Anybody want the answer?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Let's hear it, Gary.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's because the prima donnas that have to have everything perfect and everything right. There's a kicker on the jump. They have to take it out. They can't have it any dangerous, and they certainly don't want to go racing with any real bad ruts. So they have to fix all that. In Europe, I don't know how you guys are to Europe stuff, but if they have to practice on Friday and then on Saturday and then the race on Sunday, they don't touch the track unless it's something that is really bad that's really going to cause a wreck. And our riders don't ride on tough enough racetrack because their tracks are way gnarlier than ours. I think our
tracks in the hills and stuff.
ability is good. What's that?
Like they make tracks in the hills and stuff. You know, like you said, you need. I mean, what Gary just said needs to be played over and over and over. The prima donnas, every kid and stuff, they want groomed tracks. I got a groomed track for you. Well, when you deserve it and you've earned it, you'll get a groomed track. Until then, you'll get a shithole. Because if you can ride that shithole, then you'll learn to ride. You know, you'll be thankful for that. Over in Europe, they make.
Hey Gary, how much track prep did you do at Lake Sugar Tree when we would go and ride?
Yeah.
Hey, I love that track, by the way. But yeah, honestly, every kid, I mean, they want their groom tracks. They want it watered. They want it pretty. I mean, man, don't even get me. We just got me started in this whole deal. That's a sore subject because they don't need groom track. The European guys, you know, and another reason.
You hear that?
Their momentum overseas, you can tell a American guy come by, and you can tell when a European guy comes by. They shift up their momentum, their lines, because they're used to riding all that stuff. They make things happen. They can make a line. They don't just follow. They're so creative over there. And like it used to be where we dominated, but now, where supercrosses are, that supercross is where the money is.
They have to be creative.
Yeah. Yep. They have to.
My name is Carter Cochran. I'm 13 years old. I race Schoolboy 1 and Super Mini.
The infamous Moto Talk question is, why do you love riding your dirt bike so much?
I mean, I used to race BMX, and ever since I hit second gear and first gear on that dirt bike, it changed my life. I just liked it so much. Main reason why I like it is just the adrenaline I get and how much fun I have, and just
plus all the women love it. I'm just gonna be real. I'm throwing it out there. You race BMX too?
All right, to race BMX.
That's what Christian Craig used to do a lot of. I used to I thought I was gonna be a professional bicycle BMXer. That's what I love to do my whole life. It teaches you a lot of just the neutralness. McGrath did it too.
What's your goals, Carter, for upcoming this upcoming year?
This upcoming year, I'm not really doing much racing this year. Last year, I was all into it, and I won the championship. But this year, I'm just trying to do more fun stuff, going for it, and doing some more nationals.
Carter, do you have any questions? Come on, any questions for Shea?
What was that, bud?
I said it's crazy that like how
Are
much history
you-
you have
you got-
behind it.
Yeah, yeah, I got a ton of history, and you know what? That's what's made me who I am. But I'm also willing to learn. And you've got to, you're gonna hear a lot of people's always got an opinion. Just take it in, throw it out, but be willing to learn. Be willing to learn, soak it in, because all that stuff, it comes, through life experiences. But study everything you do. You're always gonna make mistakes. Limit the mistakes. Technique is everything, because speed comes later on. Learn to know why you're doing what you're doing on that motorcycle. Be able to go just as fast standing up as you do sitting down. Peg weighting, over the front. It's all about it's just basically as much knowledge you can get. Surround yourself with those winners. And I'm telling you, through time, yeah, you'll be exactly where you want to be. Don't rush things. Hey, do not rush things. You have all the time in the world too. Be patient. Nice to meet you, buddy. I see a number one plate behind you.
Yeah, that's one of my state ones.
That's good.
And I know you got some sponsors out there that you want to thank. Who's helping you out, Carter?
Mainly Sun Enterprise, helping me with all my bikes. Friends, my dad, he works there too. He helps a lot. Mainly Mark Kite and Dennis O'Shea and all them, and Matt. Really, all of them. They just helped me so much. Fast House, Mom and Dad. Pretty much, those are the main helpers.
There you go. How can everyone follow you on Instagram?
On Instagram, Carter Cochran.mx, /MX. And we also have our YouTube right here, CNC Moto Factory. And same thing as Twitter and everything else.
Hey, Kaverick, if you had a trick to do on your dirt bike, I see you got your toy dirt bike there. What would your trick be called, and what would the bike do?
Flip into a backflip.
You do a backflip? What would you call it?
I don't know.
We got Pastrana going for 3. They're doing 3 over there at his compound. That's wild.
Yeah, they go high too.
When first backflip. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Hey, Lucas, how about you? Lucas, what about you? What's your trick? Your futuristic trick that has never been done before that you want to make up?
I don't know if it hasn't been done before, but probably a double backflip knack.
Double backflip knack. All right, Shea,
Hey,
what about you? What's your trick?
I like the one-handers. I'm gonna stick with the one-handers. So I'm old school. I don't like
a big one-hander.
Yeah, it's been done before, but it's been a long time. So hey, I love hot mamas too. I saw your shirt.
Hey, Shea, if you could go anywhere in the world and ride there again, where would you go?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, South Africa, that was the best time. The race and everything about it was to the top level. But anything Europe, because the racing is so serious over there, but it's also so much fun.
And I'm gonna get over to Lucas here. Lucas, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Lucas Kolar. I'm 13 and I'm from Akron, Ohio.
I spent some time in Akron, Ohio. Yeah, you're like Brock Sellers area.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What class you race?
85 in Super Mini.
Does your dad make you sit out there and help him work on the bikes and stuff?
No.
You need to learn how to work on that bike, because if you know how that bike works, then make things a little easier.
Yeah.
So
He doesn't sound
That's
like he believes it.
yeah.
So Lucas has been training out with me for a while. So Lucas, you got to Google or YouTube Gary Bailey, and and study everything that he's put out there. There's a lot of videos on his YouTube. He's still making, posting videos with his sauce. So you got to check it out, and you'll see how much of that comes with my coaching and everything I'm teaching you.
Yeah,
and
same as
definitely
me.
get out there in the garage and work on the bikes with them. And Shae's out there teaching the same stuff. So Gary, you got some good little minions out here, passing on what you taught us all. Hey, Kaverick, I just want to reach out to you here real quick. Kaverick, it was his idea to get a little show going, share how his racing weekends went and meet some new friends. Thank his sponsors, of course. And
My name is Kaverick. I'm 7 years old, and I race out junior 50.
Are you going to Loretta's this year?
Yes.
Where you gonna try? No, you're going. You're gonna be racing.
Cav got to race Loretta's last year.
Yeah, he was top 10, but the third moto he crashed out, so it hurt
That's
his
all right.
overall.
And as long as you're doing it, giving it everything you have, that's all that matters. I like to say, because y'all's minds are a lot different. Y'all's brains are like sponges. Where our mine and your dad's and stuff, our brains don't soak things up so fast anymore. So technique. Feed in, body positioning, all that stuff. Listen to your dad, help him work on the motorcycles. And yeah, those little things like that. It's everything. Have fun. That's the biggest thing we all. And get as many number 1 plates as you can.
Sure.
And always kiss the trophy girl.
There you go. Well, Shae, man, we can't thank you enough. And I know I'm going to rewatch it. Cav, you better rewatch and soak up everything. Same thing with Lucas and Carter and everyone watching and listening in. There was some gold that was laid down today. So, man, Shae, we got to get together. We got to get little camps going, a Shae Bentley camp, and we'll be coming down, bringing some of the riders this winter down south. We're up here in Ohio, so like myself, I didn't get to ride in the winter, and when I did start riding, it was nothing but mud. So you got to be a good mud rider. Gary wasn't scared to get us out there in the mud and in the rain, and he'd be out there right with us. So
exactly,
battle with the conditions, show up at the starting line with the attitude that you put the work in, and as long as you did, you should be there to win. So we learned a lot today. I learned a lot today.
Please
great
come
tips
down
from you guys today.
Yeah, y'all, please come down. I'd love to have y'all, and I'd like to come up also. And because it's all about giving back, but helping each other, and because we all love it. We all love what we do. It's a passion. You feel like this is what you're supposed to do. Same with me. We're blessed, man. We truly are blessed. And what we teach our kids these days is that's the next generation. And also, I'm not one that is big on these participation trophies. I'm just kidding. Earn it. If you want it, earn it. I appreciate it, man. I had a blast. Anytime y'all need anything, I'm here. Right. Thank you.
We hope to see you at the farm, and we're coming down to ride with you down south this coming winter. So talk to you soon, Shae. You're the man, and we're blessed to be able to hear from you today.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you, boys.
We want to thank you, Shae, for hopping on the show here today. What an honor to have you and Gary on the show. Gary, we got to get you on an episode. I'd like to have the whole episode to yourself. So hopefully we can make that happen. So that was pretty darn cool to have Shae Bentley on the call. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah.
That was cool. Lucas, what'd you think of Shae Bentley on the call today?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Definitely worth.
He's got a good mindset, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Here too.
Are you going to Melbourne, Carl?
No, well, it's looking like rain Saturday. I have a commitment on Saturday for a car race. But if that gets canceled, I will be at Malvern on Saturday to watch you race. I'm not going to race. I got a sprint enduro coming up in 2 weeks. So I'm just getting ready for that. My bike's not really set up for moto. It's set up more for woods and GP style racing. So I'm not going to go race a motocross track right now. I'm just focused on the last 2 rounds of the US Sprint Enduro. And then there's the one more final one in July. So 3 races I have coming up. And then the Colorado 500, which is in August. So you're racing Malvern this weekend, Cav. That's hopefully it's not muddy, right? Even though you can handle the mud. Lucas, what do you got going on this week?
Probably go to OIR.
OIR is open on Sunday. That's going to be Tim Boca. He does a great job. I know they canceled this past weekend because of the rain. And then we'll see at Speed Farm Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Cav, do you know Lucas? Have you met Lucas?
No.
So Lucas has been training with me all year, and he's ripping out there. He's got good form. He's really learning. So hopefully you guys will get to hang out and say, hey, I got to hang out and talk with you on Moto Talk. Kaverick and Carter on the call here, and Lucas, hopefully you guys are picking up some tips from Shae Bentley and the professor, Gary Bailey. What an honor to have Gary hop on the show. Hopefully, everyone will go back and watch some of the old Supercross videos of you out there winning. You got a couple of championships there. And thanks everyone for tuning in to Moto Talk episode 3. We had Gary Bailey on the call. We had Shae Bentley on the call, and that was some heat. So check it out. Check out next episode. I'll wait and surprise you with who's going to be on the show, but it's going to be a good one. We're excited, and it's going to be hard to top that one. I know Gary Bailey, he needs his own show. So thanks for tuning in to Moto Talk episode 3 with Shae Bentley and super guest Gary Bailey. Get fast or get last.